Gentlemen, so give me 10 minutes here of total silence while I record us a tutorial on editing photos in Adobe Lightroom. So here's the deal. The technique I'm going to show you to use to edit photos is one that was made famous by American photographer Ansel Adams. You might recognize his photography from pictures of the national parks, right? So Ansel Adams, right, in the 1930s and 40s took a lot of photographs of America's national parks and made America's national parks famous around the world, right? He did this using large format black and white photography, and he developed his own theory on how we edit photographs. So let's talk about the Ansel Adams school of editing photographs. Ansel Adams said that in every photograph there need to be 10 zones of light, right, to create the highest level of contrast within in an image. Looking at these photographs of Ansel Adams, what do you see is in common? What is the overarching theme of his photos? They're all what? Black and white, right? Because he doesn't use color, right, he really focuses on contrast and properly exposing an image, and this will serve us as we learn to edit a photograph, right? So in Ansel Adams' system, I'll scroll down to this infographic. Where are you at, infographic? Well, don't hide from me now as I make a video. He says that zone 0 should represent the purest black values in the image, right? We're talking about dark shadows, caves, things that have no detail, right? Whereas pure white, we're talking about snow-capped mountains, clouds with sunlight on them, right? Things that are perfectly white. Every image should have both of these extremes in it, because otherwise we're just throwing away contrast in our image. Even if we're just taking a picture of somebody as a portrait, we want to include 10 zones of detail. So to accomplish that in Adobe Lightroom, we're going to use our own version of this, right? We have new techniques that Ansel Adams didn't have. We have this histogram up in the corner that shows us where the color information on this photograph is stored. We can see that most of the information is on the left-hand side of this histogram, right? So, what do we think that means if all of the color information is on the left-hand side? Looking at this photo here of Brandon, is this a photo that seems mostly full of bright tones or dark tones? Dark tones, right? So the left side of the histogram is black, the right side is white. Notice that there's almost no color information in the bright side of the image. Almost all of the information is in shades of gray and shades of black, right? So that means we're losing out on all of this side of the image we can store information in. So the first thing we're going to want to do is put the majority of our image information towards the center of the photograph, right? We can do that by moving our exposure slider until, right, the bulk of the information is in the middle. Now this photograph's a little soft, that's okay. We're going to just use it as our example here. From there, right, we can take a look at the different settings here. I'm going to go down and start at the bottom with my black values and work my way up, right? So if we look at our graph again, very little information is stored in pure black. What part of our photograph here would you say are the darkest values? The hair, what else? The hood, right? So if we want to see the shadows in the hair and in the hood in the correct side of the image here, we can adjust this black slider so that, notice as I move this, the black values move over in my histogram, right? We start to create dark shadows, right? Now those shadows are actually fully black, but we still don't have much information on the highlight side of things. So as I go up here, the next thing I'm going to adjust is my white value. I'm going to take that and move it over, right, so that we reveal detail on the right side of the image. We don't want to go crazy or else we're just going to lose detail in his face, right? These sliders are all over the place. I should have started with an image that hadn't been touched by anyone yet. If I grab these shadows, right, this is where we start to have creative decision making. Do we want these lines in his hoodie to be in, you know, more shade? Probably don't want to just throw away all that detail we worked so hard to create. I'm going to say, don't show this again. Stop popping up there, Google Drive. Right, find a happy medium where we have a lot of detail without, over here, this all just looks like dark gray values, right? There's not a whole lot of detail there. Then I'm going to move on to my highlights. My highlights, the light poking around his face here. Where's a happy point where we accentuate those details without losing information? That's good. And then this photo to me just looks off. It looks blue. It looks like his head has gone orange. That's wrong, right? So if I grab this white balance tool, I just want to point at something in the image that is gray, right, or white, so that I can pull from that and tell the computer, make that be accurately white. So I can say, that's what it looked like on the day we took the photo. Somebody pointed a yellower light at Brendan, so he's looking a little too orange for me. I might say, why don't we make that white on his shirt white? That's getting closer to be the correct color of white. If anything, I might just scale this slightly closer to the blue value, take some of those extreme orange colors off of his face. Now, we can see, if I throw this in black and white, right, how now I have much more compelling zones of contrast in that photo of Brendan. And that's what you want to aim for when you're editing a photo for realism, right? We'll learn to do edits where we do creative things, where you do crazy color things. Today, I want you to think about realism and how to portray natural beauty, because any beginner with a camera can be like, oh, I'm just going to go crazy. I'm going to turn that all the way down. I'm going to turn that all the way up. Look at my crazy artistic. That's not crazy artistic, right? That's just somebody playing around with the sliders on the computer. So today, right, strive for creating an accurate representation where we get to see the most detail in that image as possible. Try to use all the zones of your photograph. Don't have all your color information slammed to one side of your histogram.